Our lives are defined by the way we see the world. So let's reimagine, and reimagine again.
I am Chef Jeff Henderson. I'm a former prisoner, and I'm also the former executive chef of Cafe Bellagio in Las Vegas and former Food Network star. When I was a young man growing up here in South Central Los Angeles and Southeast San Diego, I made a lot of poor choices in my life. And from those poor choices, it led me to prison. And it's a part of my life that I'll forever pay to society. When you think about change your walk, change your life, you think about unlocking potential in your life. In the darkest place on earth, a place where none of you ever want to go, sitting in a cage, a cold cell with no big picture windows, walking on concrete every single day, steel bars, and a dream. It wasn't like we had French windows or choices for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It was a place where sometimes we crushed potato chips, Dorito chips with jalapeno flavor, or Cheetos with the extra cheese or the heat to create seasoning and flavor to canned tuna and canned chicken. Imagine your humanity stripped from you. Imagine being strip searched throughout the day, handcuffed with a chain around your waist and handcuffs on your ankle for nearly a decade of my life. But I grew up in prison. I went in as a young man, the age of 23. But in prison, I realized the one thing they couldn't take from me. They couldn't take my hope, they couldn't take my dream, and they couldn't take my dignity, and they couldn't take my potential. In prison, there was a time when the blinders of poverty came off. In prison, for the 2.3 million Americans locked up, sometimes during that dark moment, sometimes we have that epiphany. That epiphany when that little voice speaks to you and says it's time to change. Well, that's what happened to me in the darkest place on earth. How many of you have been to prison before? Have you been to prison? Have you been to prison? Of course not. Of course no one in this room been to prison. But I'm not here to talk about physical prison. I'm here today to talk about mental incarceration. Mental incarceration is when any human, no matter your social economic background, no matter where you come from, no matter your religion, the color of your skin, your social and economic standing in this country or in the world, many of us lock ourselves up. Many of us begin to think that we can achieve the so-called American dream. When you put self-imposed barriers around you and you lock up the intellect, your genius, your gift, those are the seeds that become planted for so many of us that wound up in physical prison. I was born in a mental prison, in poverty from a struggling mother, in a dysfunctional home, like millions of people around the world. And it began to shape the way I saw life. But when people are physically locked up, it becomes that opportunity for everyone to have that epiphany. It doesn't matter how much money you have, what neighborhood you live in. your social standings. Many a times we lock ourselves up and we put self-imposed barriers around us. Roadblocks. That little voice tells us that you can't be who you're supposed to be. That you can't have this job or you can't move in this community. And when you're mentally locked up, it's limitations. Imagine staying in this red circle on this stage for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Your whole life. But during that moment, I discovered my greatness. I discovered my gift. I discovered something that allowed me to escape and break free of those mental chains. And I found that through food. When you think about cooking, who would imagine you could discover that God-given talent and God-given strength in the darkest place on earth? We're going to crank this baby up here. Come on, baby. Let's bring some heat here. In the prison kitchen, I was able to be coached by men. Men who helped me see the value in myself. And as I began to cook in the prison kitchen, so much began to happen. I had a vision. I had a vision that one day I could become a chef. Food helped me discover that. I have some diver scallops I'm going to cook here, but we didn't have those in the prison cell. It wasn't until later when I was able to start my career and launch my career because people begin to coach me, begin to help me, and give me those opportunities. And as those opportunities came, things began to happen. I began to cook. I began to travel. I began to expose myself. When you think about how we can help make a difference in the world, we make a difference in the world by helping unlock the potential in people. So as I move on, we got these scallops rolling, and I came out of prison. Many people come out of prison, and we have so many biases against us. So many people that says we can't make it. We can't get the second chance. We can't get those opportunities. But I never gave up. I continue to cook. I continue to empower people. So folks who have discovered their gift and have become successful in life, we ask ourselves, how can we change the world? How can we change the narrative? How can we help folks who have those blinders on? We give them opportunities. We share. We believe in them. And that's how I was able to make that transition in my life. In closing out, I want to say, what the takeaway truly is, it's about how do we reach back? How do we help free all the people who have no dream? How do we give them permission to dream, to be who they're supposed to be? A homeboy like me and millions of other folks in prison discovered who we were in that darkest place. And here we have a beautiful diver scallop, seasoned with a little bit of smoked sea salt, a little bit of fresh cracked pepper. We're going to drizzle a little bit of age, 12-year-old balsamic, gas street, right around this beautiful dish. When you think about, smelling good up here, isn't it? When you think about the vision and how we close the social and economic gap in this country. We have to think about how we got where we are. We have to think about the young people, empowering our young people to go out into the world and share their gift. If you can change your walk, you can change your life. We must unlock the future to everyone in the world. God bless you. Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you. Yes. All righty. Thank you. I don't know if I'm going to eat my own food here or not, you know.